Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, whatever time you're watching this. All our lovely guests of viewers of Superkickin with Stephen and Greg, your favorite two hosts right here. Stephen A. 1181 on Twitter. Catch me there. Greg Williams over there, the one, the whiz, whatever name he is rocking this week, but he is here. So happy to be here. I will apologize, Greg. Last week we blew it. We totally ruined the moment. It was the 21st of September, and I should have played a certain song, and I didn't. But due to copyright law, I did not know if we could. But anyways, we are here. Tuesday, Greg, is officially my favorite day of the year because it's October 1st, the unveiling of Stephen Manor in all its glory. I need to start doing it because we have had heavy, heavy rain last night, rain coming again today. Apparently, this tropical storm is affecting us as well, Greg. Imagine that. But we're just getting the rain. Yesterday was just rain all day. So I did not get outside to do what I needed to do. So, yeah, hopefully by Tuesday, everything will be up and running. But, yeah, we are here ready to go. So, any quick take, Greg, on the week for you?
No, it's just same old stuff. I am in a play called I Hate Shakespeare. It's coming up
Oh, okay.
the middle 2 weeks of October.
Well, there you go.
A bunch of one acts around that particular theme.
Okay.
It's pretty awesome. I don't know if we'll get to film it and make it for for widespread use, but I'll keep you posted on that. But rehearsals are hot and heavy, and things are popping. It's going to be a good show. So shout out to the cast.
Well, there you go. That is something to take note of. So we will look forward to hearing more about that as it comes closer. So yeah, October is such a cool. I always, we joked before like September, October, November, December, they just fly by because I think there's plenty to look forward to. So of course they just move quicker. But we are looking forward to next week as that is Bad Blood. And now, Greg, it's going back and forth. Now they're saying that Cody and Roman against the Bloodline could main event, but there's still a chance that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I still feel like Triple H, knowing the history of Bad Blood, you got to close with the Hell in a Cell match, but I also understand the history of Cody Rhodes in Atlanta, Georgia, Roman Reigns being from Georgia Tech, Cody and Roman teaming together, maybe for the only time, unless Survivor Series they end up, I guess they could there too, but the first time and just the history of that. But I really hope Triple H, uses his gut feeling and just gives us CM Punk, Drew McIntyre in the cell as the closing with the history of Bad Blood. So, any quick take on that, Greg?
No, I agree 1,000% that Cody and Roman should actually start the show.
Yeah.
And get that ball rolling. And it's called Bad Blood for a reason. There's Bad Blood with Cody and the Bloodline, and they're mixing things up a bit. But that story is a new wrinkle with Cody and Roman and their tentative alliance.
Yeah.
Punk, the Hell in a Cell should be last. I mean, that's the whole reason you roll it out. You don't bring it out to put it in the middle of the show or at the beginning of the show. It should finish the show. And you should have another layer for Punk and McIntyre once the show is over. And that should be the last thing we think about. So I agree that it should, based on the premise of the show alone, be the closer. The Hell in a Cell should always be the closing match because you're looking up that cage and you're anticipating it. So
all night, yeah,
right, and that's the part of the reason you keep them hooked. So I think that's the way it should go. That Cody and Roman should be first, Punk should be last.
Yeah. So I mean, either way, both matches are, I think, going to be a barn burner of matches. But I really hope Triple H just, and I'm sure Cody and Roman understand, like, they're, Cody's a big history buff, Greg. So he has to know the history of Bad Blood and Shawn Michaels and Undertaker in the first Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. I mean, that's there's no reason why you bring back Bad Blood the pay-per-view name, Greg, if you're not going to give us a Hell in a Cell match worthy of that name.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bit of business, just, Alexa Bliss. I've been seeing she could come back in 2025, but now WRKD. I started to say WKRP for our old heads like us, Greg, in Cincinnati. But anyways, is hinting that Alexa Bliss could return soon. I think that would be a good boon for her to be back. I'd say Raw, Greg, but I think SmackDown. I mean, either way, I just want to see her back on TV, kind of see where she goes. It just she's had the baby. She's kind of been doing her own thing, and I just want to see what direction she goes. But I'd like to see her maybe recreate that Wyatt family character she has, Greg, but also understand maybe getting her back on TV in the usual Alexa Bliss, and then maybe seeing the ways of the Wyatt Six could turn her. But either way, I think she'd be a great boon back on TV. What about yourself?
No, I agree. I've missed Alexa, and she's going to be amazing whether she comes back as a heel or babyface. I think they're leaving that sixth spot in the Wyatt Six empty for a reason.
Yeah.
Even if it's just to tease that when Alexa comes back, that she's going to be the sixth person. She could do something completely different, but it's adding to the mystery around her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's been notably is we've noticed that she's not on screen, and we've missed her because she's great no matter what role she plays. So it adds to the mystique, and want to see what she's going to do when she comes back. Um, and either brand's going to be lifted by having her. But uh, my choice, I would put her on Raw just to have that.
Yeah.
If she's not going straight into the Wyatt Six, just to have that energy of it, knowing her connection.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, she does. It does seem better suited with Raw, just with the way she's always been, and I just, yeah, I guess I like that. They're taking her time. They're letting her do her own thing off screen, Greg, and do whatever she needs to do. Becoming a mom is obviously a big thing. So, hanging out with her husband, going to his shows and all this, and doing maybe TV, or maybe trying to find some movie roles or acting roles that she can do. So yeah, I definitely think hopefully sooner rather than later for her. So some stuff happened, Greg, on Raw. Should we just get right into it? Jay Uso, Braun Breaker. I did not think they'd pull the trigger, Greg, but they did. And Braun will be fine. Yes, he had a short reign, Greg, but like you've said before too, it's okay to have short reigns. Like we've had some lengthy reigns. Now, do I want Jey Uso to lose it right back to Braun? No. I don't. We don't need that. But yeah, I think Braun's going to be fine. I mean, now there's even talk, maybe turn him babyface sooner rather. But that shouldn't happen anytime soon. But yeah, Jey Uso finally, Greg, and it does. It's kind of a cool moment because we didn't think it would happen, and you do it on a Raw. So now it does kind of give you that old school feeling, like, oh crap, I better make sure I turn into Raw because sometimes a big change happens, and this is a big change. So, but it's awesome for Jay. Somebody did an edit of his title, maybe adding a little bit of blue splash in there. Looks really, really awesome if they can do that. But what a match! And here we go. We finally get main event Jey Uso with a singles title, Greg. Have at it.
Yeah, like I said, we thought that it was going to go the other way, but if not now, when?
Yeah.
And what title? So, in retrospect, I get it. I thought it was going to go a little bit longer. Maybe they have a rivalry that ran a few months, but there's nothing wrong with doing it right now. Like you said, Braun is going to be fine. He's established his following. He's got his loyal dogs in the building, and that sounds like a very base thing to do.
Well, and that's if you wonder, like they might try to pull the trigger on him as a face sooner rather than later, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, he can keep the persona, and people are still going to be into it.
Yeah,
they've done a great job of building him up, making him look like a beast, And when I see him, I'm hooked. I want to see what he's going to do next. So it's not just rolling out the second generation, third generation kid and just saying this kid is it. We see everything right there in front of us, and we know that this guy's going to be awesome for years and years from now, and he's only going to get better. So put him in with Jey Uso, who's a main event player, is a boon for him. So he'll be fine. He'll find another championship to chase. He'll find more people to spear, and he'll be fine.
Well, and they can build. I mean, if we do the old school way, Greg, maybe build him up as a big Royal Rumble contender, and boom, we get Braun and Gunther at Mania. Because we've kind of been wondering who might go against Gunther, and you turn Braun face in the process. I mean, you got a heel and a face dynamic right there. So
there you go.
And
what about Braun in the bank?
Yep, Braun in the bank. Yep,
carrying around the briefcase.
So I mean, I think we both know the sky's the limit for Braun, and
Absolutely.
like I said, a 51-day reign. I mean, and it still felt pretty established, even at a short time for him, Greg. It's not like you didn't have him on TV. You didn't have, you had him on screen. You had him defending the title a couple times. So yeah, I think it's fine to. But and like I said, I'm happy for Jay and Jay could still do the bloodline stuff as IC champion. So that that's obviously that we still want. I still think the bloodline needs to or the OG bloodline. Sorry, needs to somehow find them ways together. But I still think you got plenty of opportunities to do that stuff. The other kind of big story was Rhea Ripley telling that Dominic will be in the shark cage, Greg, because Lord knows WWE has shark cages laying around the warehouse. So, nice little stipulation. It takes away Dominic, Greg, but it's still, what I think it was Paul Heyman who handed something to Roman from the shark cage. So it still gives you that opportunity, because usually the shark cage is not that high.
Yeah.
So you can still drop a weapon down there. He can pull something from the tights, Greg, to give to Liv. Distract Rhea somehow. So I hope, Greg, that we do get Rhea and Dom one-on-one at some point, just to give us that. I mean, it just tailor-made to do that. So, but yeah, Dominic in the shark cage will be a sight to watch, Greg. So we'll have to move that out of the way while the steel cage or the Hell in a Cell. You're going to have a couple cages just hanging out at the top of the ceiling, Greg. To kind of hang out there, but yeah. So Dominic in the shark cage. Any quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love it. We're gonna get 2 cages at Bad Blood. It's gonna be awesome.
All the cages.
Everybody hanging from the cages or in the cages. Just cages for everybody. You get a cage. You get a cage.
All right, Oprah.
And let's. And like I said, it doesn't stop Dom from cheating. He can always have something in his pockets and drop it through the slats or, something like that.
Yeah.
There's more, going to be more opportunity to do things even from the cage, and that's going to keep people drawn in because, you blink, you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
So, like you said, it's usually not suspended very high above the ring itself. So, just the banter that Dom's going to be able to drop from the cage and always been able to maybe slip a weapon, so we're going to be glued to the screen, and that's the whole point. So I like bringing out the going back to the old school and pulling out the shark cage because I can't even think the last time we saw the shark cage. So
yeah,
love it.
I was like, I think Paul Heyman was in the one. But and even maybe it's close enough that Rhea can reach the bottom and maybe it opens up somehow the bottom, and then Dom slips out and has to join. He joins the fight, gets taken out by Rhea, something like that. So Sami Zayn defeats Ludwig, but Gunther is still reneging or denying the request. Greg, it's getting closer to Bad Blood. I think this is going to be a Monday Night Raw match, Greg. Not this week, but I feel like we're not going to get at Bad Blood. I think we got kind of the framework of Bad Blood. So, are we okay with it? Main eventing a Monday night Raw.
Yeah, I am. I think they've done a good job in showing that it's possible that it can change hands because it just happened.
Yeah,
Um, and if it was going to be on Bad Blood, that decision would have been made on this
already.
show,
Yeah.
because now it's too late. And so it does feel like it's going to be a Raw main event now, which is fine. And I think by doing the Braun title change, that now that puts that bug in the back of our brain that we could see another title change coming up, especially with it being, I think this is going to be the debut. No, it's not the debut yet, but um,
Yeah, we're still some months away from Netflix. I mean, that would be the perfect way, if the
yeah,
Netflix debut was happening, Greg. I mean, what better way to kick off the Netflix era than a championship, match main event? But that is January or January something.
yeah,
It might be the first.
first Monday of
Uh,
January.
yeah, the first Monday of January is what I so. Um, and I mean, I guess you could still, but I feel like it'd just be squeezing it on there next week, even Greg. So on the Bad Blood. So yeah, I hope that they're just kind of riding it out. Sammy does something else to Ludwig, but
That's what I was
maybe I
thinking, that it was going to happen on this show, but they didn't do it. So,
yeah
and the next is it? I don't think there's a November pay-per-view set up, is it?
Survivor Series,
So I was.
Survivor Series,
It'd be
but
too long to just drag it out that long,
yeah,
probably.
yeah,
But
yeah. I just that does feel long and drawn. That it seems too long to draw that out because even
yeah,
that's towards the end of November. So and especially if we're going to be doing like we're thinking, Greg, if you're going to be doing Bloodline Civil War, we know that's going to take plenty of time. So I don't
yeah,
know if a championship title, a WWE title, or I'm sorry, World WWE World Heavyweight title match really has the legs on there. Dragon Lee defeated Carlito, so we're still kind of getting Judgment Day and LWO stuff, even though we also saw Xavier Woods involved with that, Greg, too. But we are going to get Braun and Big Bronson Reed in a last man standing match. Does The Miz maybe come in and mess with that, Greg, now that he has kind of beef with both guys?
right. Because it's supposed to be Miz's match with Braun or Bronson, and Braun screwed it up. So
Mhm.
um, I like it that he could throw himself in and just ruin the whole match, or cause somebody to lose, and that be more reason to keep the storyline going.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, and then they probably just turn and have to eliminate Miz. But I like putting him back into the mix,
Yeah.
and he's got a intention that
And starting
he's
to heal.
overlooked and ignored, and maybe he's up to something more dastardly than we are thinking he's capable of. So, but we'll get our Clash of the Titans, to
Yeah.
steal the term. And you can draw this out. Speaking of stories, you can stretch out until Survivor Series. That could be one of them.
Mhm. Yeah. And then Karrion Cross got into Miz's ear, Greg. So kind of an interesting role that they're doing with Karrion Cross being this, instigator, for different people, maybe trying to get people on his side. I mean, the Miz and Karrion Cross, that could be appearing too good for Karrion Cross, Greg, because you could have the Miz back to his heel ways, and he loves minions,
Yeah,
Alex Riley and Damien Sandow. So who knows? That could end up turning Karrion Cross face, Greg, because he finally gets tired of the Miz's stuff. So a couple of good corrections there. Maybe like we've been saying for Karrion Cross, maybe finally finding a role he can, work into. So Drew McIntyre promised to take CM Punk to hell. That tells you everything right there, Greg.
yep,
Damage Control defeated the Unholy Union. We also had the Creed brothers defeat New Day, but once again, Xavier Woods is, now he's the quarterback, Greg, but they're losing. And, now I'm starting to wonder, Greg, do you pull the trigger on Kofi turning on Xavier? Just saying, hey, I gave you the keys, you didn't run with it. So, see ya. So now you have the dynamic that, in a way, we could be thinking Kofi might be the one to, drop Xavier Woods to the curbside, Greg.
Yeah, I'm liking that they're making Woods the focus
Yeah.
and giving him the big moments. They're coming in with L's, and that's giving him more reason to be pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best heel turns happen when the one who turns in his own mind, he feels he's
Correct.
justified.
Yep.
And the first, Drew is the first person to come to mind,
Mm-hmm.
but CM Punk screwed him over again and again and again. And then Finn Balor,
Mm-hmm.
after he turned on Damien at the when caused Damien Priest to lose the world title, and the reason he got in and reference, a year ago, you
Mm-hmm.
screwed me when you did this.
Yeah.
So in his own mind, he's right.
Well, it's Kevin Owens syndrome because Kevin
Right.
Owens as a heel is the best at it, justifying everything he does as a heel.
Exactly. And when they have in their own mind, they're right, and this is why, and we can see it, and we remember those
Believe it.
things,
Yep.
that makes it more believable. That makes it tangible. And that is what makes the whole thing just better overall.
Yeah.
And so we got that same situation going on here with Woods. You know, you did this and you caused us to lose,
Yep.
which he did.
Yep.
I didn't pay attention to the match. He was doing something on the side and he got caught.
Mm-hmm.
And that growing frustration is just, I'm loving what they're doing with it. And so if Kofi ends up being the one that turns, then there's the swerve.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see how that's going to go. So I'm here for it. I'm watching their segments very closely, and it seems like every week is like, this is it, and
Mm-hmm.
nope, not yet. He's
Yeah.
just, that volcano is getting ready to blow,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that lava is getting higher and higher right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that I think once again a a good thing for the Triple H era using logic finally in turns, and
Yep.
then just this everything has reason from top to bottom. People every little thing kind of matters. So I know you've mentioned that many times, the little details.
Yep.
Some NXT stuff real quick. So Kaylani Jordan keeps rolling along, Greg. The champion. So we got Axiom and Nathan Frazier. They did battle with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. So we're not quite turning Theory yet, Greg, but it's coming too.
Yep. It's
So
another New Day situation happening right there.
yeah,
Yep.
but
It's
but
coming.
like
Just win.
it's going to be interesting to see Theory because he feels more the face character, Greg. He feels like
Right.
a John Cena light version type because he's always talked about. That's who he modeled himself after, Greg. So it's going to be very interesting to see Theory as a face and how we can get the crowd behind him.
Yeah, I'm curious to see that too because his transition from just narcissist to straight heel
Mm-hmm.
was awesome.
Yeah.
And he went just straight evil overnight, and it was beautiful. So
Yeah.
how is he going to go and do the opposite now
Yeah.
and actually get people rooting for him? I'm very curious to see that.
Mm-hmm. And like we said, if you use the long term booking, he can bring up different ways that Grayson has screwed him and all the bullets he's taken, Greg. All
Yep.
the different. I mean, you got your story right there. So
Yeah.
Hank and Tank pick up a win. The OC, Greg, man, they're just collecting those paychecks, aren't they?
That's all right.
I mean,
So welcome to the job squad, fellas.
yeah, it
Somebody's
and
got to do it.
I know somebody's got to do it. That's yeah. So, what about the kind of looks like maybe a small turn for Lexus King? He did not want to use the ropes this time, Greg. But then guess what? Oro uses the ropes. So, do you think we're going to get a face turn for Lexus King? Did they already are they already kind of you know wondering where to go with Lexus King?
I think so because that was planting the seeds with him choosing not to cheat and then going to his dressing room beforehand and no tricks,
Hmm.
you know, giving them the speech. Let's give a match our fathers would be proud of, and
Yeah.
giving a babyface speech. Um, So maybe they're figured out how to do it, and this is just step one. So
Yeah.
it feels incomplete, but it's a start.
Yeah. Ridge keeps winning. Do we care about Ridge yet, though, Greg?
No,
Yeah.
if he destroys Chase U completely, then there's your end game right there, and then he
Yeah.
can somebody else is going to have to rise up to meet him.
Yeah. Wendy Chun, Rosemary pick up a win. It's just crazy to think, Impact superstars, Impact wrestlers picking up wins, Greg, on NXTV. Like, who would have ever thought we'd be, in this era of just a good partnership? But here we are. So,
Yeah,
A-Town Down Under pick up a win. But Javon Evans, Greg, has bigger fish to fry in a couple weeks. So,
yeah,
we will really see where Javon Evans is after that match with Brandy. And then Stephanie Vacour, I was just wondering, I was kind of wondering where she's been lately, Greg. And now we know. Just hanging in the back, waiting for a chance to show up on screen. And now we're going to have Roxanne and Julia going for the title. That's next or this coming Tuesday, because we're going to get both title matches, Greg. And that one, I'm pulling the trigger on Julia, Greg, but if Roxanne wins, then it's probably going to be Stephanie to take it off her. So, because I just totally think Roxanne is ready for the main roster. I know
yeah.
she's young, but uh, I think you just throw her up there, and I'd say maybe SmackDown, because you could have her feud with Bailey, and get that going right there, and just see where she goes. But I think Roxanne is totally ready for the main roster. So I don't. I'm okay with not worrying about draft or worrying about Royal Rumble time, Greg. I say if a person's ready, just
Yep.
do it. Let them be LTV for a couple weeks, then get that character ready, have their debut. But good to see Stephanie Vacour back in there. I'm wondering if visa issues or something like that, Greg, or just waiting for the right moment. But I do think it's gonna be interesting to kind of see Julia as well. Is a champion if that's where they're going with, or
Mhm.
where they're going to go with her. So, any kind of thoughts quickly on NXT TV?
Yeah, that last segment is like that's where they're definitely showing us who's going to be the next champion.
Mhm.
Whether it's Stephanie or it's Julia,
Yeah,
I don't think it gives Julia such a huge build up for her not to win.
yeah,
And
that could be true.
I think Roxanne is definitely ready. From looking at her from day one, all the way back at the 2.0
Hmm.
to right now, she has blossomed all the way. She's gone from a rose petal to a full on rose, fully developed and bloomed, and she is ready. Her
Hmm.
in ring is 100 times what it was. Her skill on the mic, her confidence, everything, and she is definitely bankable superstar. So she's ready to come up, and then you got two who can carry the division forward after she's gone with Julia and Stephanie. So they're putting the division in good hands before she leaves and getting the buzz going about them right now.
Hmm.
So I think it's definitely going to happen. Who is it going to be? We'll see in a couple weeks, but um, it's go time. So I'm here for it.
And for the first time ever, Greg, I will figure out where to watch CW and actually watch the TV show. I was just trying to, I think back in the day that used to have like all the Vampire Diaries and the Pretty Little Liars and all those kind of Gossip Girl shows, those type of
Yeah,
teenage dramas. So then I think even further, Greg, it was all kind of the black sitcoms. I felt like a lot of those were on CW, if I
yeah.
remember right.
I
Like
think they were.
Alicia, I think that was a big show back in the day.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll see what CW it is. I've just looked it up, Greg. There is watchcwtv.com. So and you can stream it for free. So there we
there you
go. We
go.
can actually, and I'm thinking you probably, I use my family's TV login for a lot of streaming stuff, Greg. So I'm guessing I can use that if need be, or Hulu Live. So we will see. I'm hearing, I didn't bring it up in our news earlier, but they said they might do a kind of a color change or presentation change. Just obviously makes sense if you're going to put on a new network. It needs a
Yeah.
little bit, Now I don't think, Greg, we need to go 2.0. We knew that was a little too much. But
Right.
maybe the black, maybe bring some more of the black and gold feel to it, and seeing where it goes. So,
Yeah.
SmackDown.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said they're doing a good job of getting back to the black and gold era.
Yeah.
Um, the characters are getting better, the stories are getting better, the matches are a lot better.
Hmm.
So, um, switching up the template a little bit is fitting. Rename it a little bit and go from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, SmackDown. What? This might as well have been the Bloodline. This is all. This SmackDown's always been carried by the Bloodline segments, and it's no different last night, Greg. But Cody Rhodes was out there explaining why he had a team with Roman. Randy Orton is, of the mindset he understands why. Kevin Owens, Greg, does not, but that's okay. Because Kevin Owens is, he's him and Xavier Woods should just form a tag team, right? The Volcano Brothers, Greg, because they are both getting ready to explode over everybody soon. So we did see that there was a challenge laid out: Solo and Jacob against Randy and Kevin. Cody gets involved. That causes a loss for Kevin Owens, Greg. So yeah, we are going to get Kevin Owens in his best mindset or his best role, Greg, soon enough, right?
Exactly. When he's unhinged, he is awesome. I love Kevin Owens unhinged, and he is there, and he's had to bottle it up a little bit
Yeah.
because it's Cody, but you know that volcano's going to blow too, and I think Cody's going to be catching a stunner sooner than later.
Yeah. So some other things kind of in the middle. Bailey defeated Naomi. We did see a small, kind of Naomi Bailey segment in the backstage, Greg, and I don't know. Naomi seemed a little disingenuous about the about the sisterly love there, didn't she?
Yeah, yeah. So there's always that hint that she could go to the dark side and maybe join the bloodline. I'm wondering if is this a heel turn coming because since she's come back, she's had some meh
Yeah.
matches and she hasn't really got the shine that I thought she would have gotten having returned after all the business with her and Sasha. So I think maybe there's something else in line for her, and this is just a little peek at it, a little tease. So and I would be curious to see how she is as a heel. So,
Yeah.
um, we talk about how did people turn to heel this show. So, but that's how
But
you
she's
keep
due.
a show from going stale is keep these characters moving and changing, and we evolve with them.
Yeah. Well, and she's still the same Naomi that she's been, Greg. And she's had this Naomi character for a while now.
Right.
Other than what the Tamina and Sasha Banks kind of whatever. You remember when all the Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky debuted, they were kind of heel. They were a little bit of a heelish group, that trio. But other than that, Naomi's always kind of been the same. So she
Yeah.
was rocking the Uno gear last night, Greg. So
Yeah.
that was a different. I don't know if she was up, down, down lately, Greg, because they used to love them some Uno back in the day when Cesaro and Adam Cole were still in NXT WWE. So that was kind of cool gear to see there. We
I
also
was thinking of
saw.
Simon. Remember the
Oh,
Simon game.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
no,
but it could be Uno too.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
didn't think about that one. I was thinking
yeah,
Simon when I saw that, but
yeah. A good memory game that I never beat. I'd always feel
me
like I
either.
get to the third round, and then I was like, nope, can't get this. So I'd hate to see kids try to play that now, Greg, with attention span. So it'd be very
Right.
interesting. They probably get to want the first card and forget it. So, but anyways, we also saw Nia Jax get a little handsy with Tiffy, Greg. Put her hands around the throat, and man, that is I've been saying all along, Greg. Tiffy is going to cash in, and
Hmm.
man, it is starting to look like it's coming closer. So, but nothing beats when Nia goes, "Oh yeah, now we're friends again."
Yeah.
I think that was in a Disney movie or something. I feel like, like one of those, hey, I hate you, but hey, we're friends. So, or like a Michael Scott type quote, Greg. That's what it feels like. So, but yeah, Tiffany, I'm sure she's kind of done lugging around that heavy briefcase anyway, Greg. So the sooner she can get rid of it, the better. Like CM Punk said, he's like, I hated being Money in the Bank just because of that. We just have to carry it everywhere. So yeah, I think that was a nice little segment, Greg, to really lay the seeds that Tiffany might turn her old friend and cash in at the end. So any kind
Right.
of quick thoughts on that, Greg?
Yeah, I'm gonna miss the brief purse,
Yeah,
but if you made it like very obvious that it's going to happen now,
yeah.
because Tiffany in the back of her mind, she's not about that disrespect. So
Mhm.
we've seen what happened with people who've wronged her. So
Yeah.
um, and for those of us who are impatient that she hasn't cashed in yet, well, there's your little carrot
Mhm.
that is
Yeah,
coming,
we're
and it's
dangling it.
gonna wait a little bit longer, but
Yeah,
it's coming. So
yeah.
I'm excited to see what goes down, and that speech afterward is going to be amazing.
Carmelo and Andrade had another barn burner, Greg, but Andrade got involved with LA Knight again. So, by the way, I don't know if I showed Greg earlier, but got to show off the LA Knight best shirt
Yeah.
ever. Him leading the troops. If you didn't know, he was part of our founding fathers. But anyways,
You didn't know that?
yeah, you didn't know. Yeah, I'm sure a certain side of the fence, Greg, would love to rewrite history as they do. But anyways, that's a whole nother conversation, Greg. So Carmelo, Andrade, LA Knight, everything's working there, Greg. I am ready for the freaking dumpster match. I love me a good old gimmick match, Greg. I love me a gimmick that we haven't seen in a while. Um, so yeah, is Chelsea going in the dumpster though?
uh, it seems too easy to say yes. Is what I'm thinking. It would be an amazing visual of seeing her freak out at being in the dumpster. Um, that would be worth the price of admission alone.
Yeah,
Um, but it seems too easy. There's shenanigans afoot, and I think there's a good chance he actually wins the match
yeah,
and somehow ends up in there anyway.
yeah,
So,
yeah. You could,
um,
yeah. Maybe Piper ends up in there and Micha gets distracted, pulls Piper in there or something. So, or pulls
right.
Micha in there, and yeah. But then at the end, you feel like Chelsea's going in that dumpster at some
Yeah, she's got to.
point. So, hopefully, there's no rabid raccoons in there, just some trash, banana peels, as the old, Greg. So, and yeah, but hopefully, it's not a write off. The one time what we saw Eric Bischoff get taken in the dumpster, Greg, and that was the last we saw of Eric Bischoff on TV. Remember, John Cena carried him out. That was the court case of Eric Bischoff, and that was the last time we saw him. So
Oh
I'm
wow, it's been a long
hoping,
time since I thought about that. Yeah.
yeah, I was just thinking about that with the dumpster idea. So I mean, the most famous one, of course, is the Chainsaw Charlie and Mankind, Mick Foley
Yeah.
going off the. That was at Market Square Arena here in Indianapolis, Greg.
Yeah, the
Um,
New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, they pushed him off the side, and that was right here in Indy. So that was kind of cool little moments there. So
Yeah, I read that was um, a lot worse landing than it looked like on
oh, I'm
TV.
sure.
Figured there was
Yeah,
padding in there and all that, but the way it landed,
yeah,
that
because it went.
padding did not help.
Yeah, it went up. So yeah, if it goes
Yeah,
straight down and just goes off the side, Greg, but it tilted, and yeah, they were a little worried about Foley there for a little bit.
yeah, that was an
Uh,
awesome moment though. My jaw was on the floor when they did that because that was a long drop.
well, of course, that really set up the New Age Outlaws
It
for what
did,
they
yeah.
became. So
They really
good
blew
old
up after that.
good old Terry Funk and Mick Foley doing whatever's best for business there, Greg. AEW news. Bobby freaking Lashley coming soon. Obviously, we saw MVP Greg, which that was a shock. I did not foresee Bobby Lashley and MVP being on AEW. I think I just saw maybe the indie route, maybe TNA, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with Lashley and Shelton and MVP on AEW. Greg, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm excited that this was definitely out of the blue. They set it up perfect with Nana coming up to give out his update on Swerve, and then have MVP come out, and it popped me because it's like we did not see
Did
that
not
coming. There
expect
was
it. Yep.
no spoilers let out about it that I saw, so I like being genuinely surprised, and this was definitely one of those moments, and just what it signifies, because Shelton's already there, and Lashley uh, coming to the show and they may be trying to reform the Hurt Business and put
Yeah.
Swerve at the head of it.
Yeah.
That
That
would
could
be a
be.
pretty awesome trio as it is,
Mm-hmm.
and this would be a change from Swerve being. I've mentioned the dichotomy with him and Nana,
Yeah.
and Swerve is super serious and he's scowling, and right next to him, Nana's doing all the dancing and
Yeah.
he's shucking and jiving, and this could be really pivoting him from being the face to a heel, and he's always portrayed as a heel, but
Yeah.
Nana right there is, you know, made him more likable,
Mm-hmm.
just because of the fun aspect that he brings to
Yeah.
Swerve's character, even though he's just scowling all the way to the ring. With MVP next to him, now there's reasons to just hate him outright.
Yeah.
He's going to join definitely a heel faction, and I'm sure everybody in AEW knows who the Hurt Business is and saw it, but so we know what the potential is,
Yeah.
and I totally believe that when he comes back, that he could definitely betray Nana, and doing that alone will give us the reason to boo him every show. Um, so I love what the possibilities are with these two um, vying for Swerve, and possibly reforming the Hurt Business. So I'd love to see that happen.
And then Wardlow, I guess just sitting on the sidelines writing out that contract, Greg. Because like I said, I can't imagine WWE not just kind of salivating
Oh
at
yeah.
the idea of trying to get Wardlow with you already have Braun Strowman, you have Big Bronson Reed. I mean, you have Jacob Fatu, who's this huge guy. I mean, there's plenty of monsters that can fit right in with Wardlow to, make an impact. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking Wardlow's just fine being at home, writing out that contract and see where he goes. So um, Dave Meltzer was reported as saying he's just one of those guys not being used, which, AEW has a loaded roster anyway, Greg. So it it does suck that Wardlow never got the MJF stuff really screwed him over. And then it
Hmm.
just felt like other little things just kept, knocking him down a peg that he couldn't get the direction he needed to. So,
Yeah.
any kind of quick take on that?
Yeah. They really dropped the ball with him. He was white hot for a while when he was breaking away from MJF, and then once
Mhm.
it finally happened, he had that quick moment, and then nothing. They had nothing else for him, and that was their mistake. They should have had something lined up for him for the next 6 months to cash in on that momentum he had, and they didn't do anything with it. Um, so definitely talent wasted, and welcome to the show, Wardlow. It's Triple H is on speed dial. He's ready to.
Mhm.
He probably had that contract signed up already.
Mhm.
So you know, we wouldn't have any problem with sitting at home and collecting the paycheck. But when you're a professional athlete and
Yeah, yeah,
you're used to being out there and earning your paycheck, and gathering your followers, because you are your brand, and if you don't if you're not seen, then people forget about you. So the next big thing is right there,
yeah.
every week. So if you're not there, you're losing money, you're losing your um, earning potential. So I'm sure he'd rather be back in the ring now, but um, hopefully that contract expires soon, and you know show up on NXT or the main roster but
Yeah.
it'll be a big pop when he does come out. So maybe Royal Rumble would be
Yeah.
a good moment for him to debut.
Yeah. And it's one of those things like, yeah, if you're not doing anything, you wonder about the power of social media. But then if you don't know how to create a character, who you want to portray, then I guess social media won't do anything for that. So, even if he is sitting at home, it's too bad he couldn't figure out some way to get his face out there, Greg, in a way. But I understand not really knowing the best way to go about that as well. So,
He's got to figure out a way to switch it up so that
yeah,
he's not being the same person that he was
yeah,
in AEW. I mean, he has the look and the skills, but how are you going to portray what new personality or what new gimmick you're going to bring with you?
some stuff happened on AEW Dynamite. We did get Greg, and I mean, I think that was it. That was the one shot for Nigel. What the announcers brought up, it sounded like he said "thank you" out loud.
Mm-hmm.
So and it felt like that was a moment that's what Nigel needed, Greg, and now he got it. And I get he could swing back to commentary, and if he needs to dress up and play wrestler sometime, I feel like he's ready to go, Greg. But I do think this was it. And we can also book in this with Moxley got the win at the end, Greg. And now we're off and running for Bryan Danielson and John Moxley. But, Greg, do we want John Moxley as what? A 4-time champion?
Well,
I'm kind of mixed about that.
yeah. All roads lead back to John Moxley at some point.
Yeah.
Is he in fact the toughest guy on the brand?
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're going at. I mean, it's like Ric Flair and his NWA run, just championship after championship after championship. You don't become 16-time champion without losing it 15 times. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's been enough space between championships for him to get it again.
Yeah.
So, story wise, it makes sense. And if I was Danielson and looking at the roster and like, who's my last match going to be
Yes. Yeah.
against?
I mean,
You know,
what? Not many names at that list, Greg, and what better name than Moxley?
exactly. So I can definitely see it happening. Um, and shout out to that match with Danielson and McGinnis because that was a
Yeah.
banger. I
Yeah.
loved that match, and I had very little hopes for it because, like I said last week, I've never seen a Nigel McGinnis match. Just knew of the history from listening to Nigel on commentary, and that match over delivered for me. Never seen him wrestle, and the match he gave Danielson, that was awesome. Um, was there a spot where I thought he was going to get the pin, maybe once or twice, but it always felt like Danielson was going to win. But Nigel definitely brought it, and he represented that. He's that dude. He was awesome. So hats off to both of them for putting on such a classic.
Yeah, and like you said, the Moxley and Allen. I mean, and I guess I would like to argue the point that I'm surprised Bryan Danielson wouldn't want to put over somebody, up and coming. Like Moxley doesn't need a win over Danielson, especially
Right.
like I said, this will make him a 4-time champion already, Greg, in a company that's only been around for 5 years. I mean, that's a pretty it's a pretty interesting stat. I don't think Super Cena hit that type of stuff back in the day, Greg. But and this is nothing against Moxley because Moxley is the face of that company. And I guess right now I can't see anybody else who's stepping up.
Yeah.
I mean, I I could probably argue Hangman. I mean, he's probably earned a title shot, right? I mean, with all the work he's put in,
Right.
The lumberjack strap match tonight, Greg, with Jeff Jarrett. So yeah, as if we're already strapped up, but now we need the lumberjacks to protect them. But anyways, so but good, and Darby Allin will. Well, I guess that is a question. Will Darby Allin be a world champion at some point, Greg?
At some point, yeah, but not now.
Not now.
I would, if I had to bet on it, I would say next year
Yeah.
and probably late next year.
I mean,
So
he's Jeff Hardy-esque. So,
right.
and Jeff Hardy eventually got his moment, Greg. So Darby's got to get that moment as well.
And there's that
Uh,
redemption story that he lost his opportunity. Now he's going to
yeah,
have to earn
has
it
to
back
go back up. Yeah,
and then work his way back up the ladder. So, the story is being written. So we're doing some long term booking, which is not AEW's uh, strong suit, but
hmm
there you can see it working right now with Darby.
yeah. So, Hook defeated Roderick Strong. Greg retires the FTW champion. Thank the Lord.
Yay!
But
Yay!
this feels like a goodbye for him, didn't it? Because he had Roderick Strong give him the handshake, and then I mean, I know I'm probably reading too much in it, Greg, but like the fact that he's retiring the title, I think he's heading off to WWE.
Really? Um, I didn't. That's not what I was feeling, but
Yeah,
we all said it was that title needs to be retired
retired.
for a long
That's
time.
yeah.
So
So that's fine.
it was the fitting. It was the time. It was the right
Yeah,
place, and you get that moment with Dad there. You get all the good feels,
yeah,
and now we take the title that was never truly recognized
yeah,
as the title, and you give it back to his rightful owner. You don't see it again,
yeah.
and Hook, gives himself more clout by being the guy to retire a championship that you know kind of a paper champion in a way because
Yeah.
it didn't have any credibility to it outside of the ECW loyalists who remember what the origin of the FGW title.
And
So
Jericho will always be known as the longest reigning champion of it, Greg. What a boon for that.
I'm sure
So
Taz loves that part,
I'm
but
sure Taz, yeah. We almost need to bring it back just despite that. But anyways, um, and I'm sure Taz and Jericho are buddies, so like, it doesn't matter. But like, yeah, it's just funny to kind of play that out. The
yeah,
Young
but Hook
Bucks.
in WWE. I mean, man,
I don't.
I
I
did not
didn't.
think about that.
It,
So
I don't know because like I guess I was wondering why would Roderick Strong give him that respect factor afterwards, unless they're trying to finally turn Undisputed Kingdom into something different, Greg. And
mhm.
then just kind of him at the top of this ramp, and you know, I don't know. I mean, I could be totally off base, but and sometimes that happens, but I don't know. Like I said, because it does seem like a random time to retire it too, right? It's not like
Yeah,
on a pay per view. It's not like, I mean, this is just, it wasn't the fifth, it wasn't their book in the fifth anniversary show as kind of a big deal, Greg. I mean, I guess it is New York and Grand Slam, so that's probably there, but it just felt like a random time to retire it.
yeah, I understand that.
But like him winning it back from Jericho, and then that would have been, but anyway. So the Young Bucks with Matt Jackson rocking some beads in his hair, Greg. Not sure he's going back to the pearl necklaces, so he's all about that. And they defeat Osprey and Fletcher. Um, is Fletcher just going to turn on Osprey, Greg, after all this? Because you brought up the idea of Takeshita being involved. He wasn't involved, but Fletcher eats the pin, Greg, and Osprey's not there to help. Osprey's trying to help him, but couldn't.
Mhm.
And we always said Fletcher's been face character with Don Callis. Is now the time to stab the friend in the back and totally go heel, Greg, for Kyle Fletcher?
I think so. Yeah. Um, he's the Marty Jannetty. He's the forgotten member of the team,
Yeah,
and nobody thinks of Kyle Fletcher as an equal to Will Ospreay. So, how you raise yourself up. You stab your friend in the back, you give him a little beat down,
yeah,
and now you're heel and match with Don Callis
yeah,
because having baby faces in Don Callis's fold just
yeah.
doesn't make sense.
hmm
So I think that's coming, and you're going to get a good couple matches out of that because
hmm
Kyle is super talented, and that's the way to get him some more stroke, and then get him that Don Callis heat that
Yeah.
he deserves,
hmm
and you're going to help both of them out in the end.
Especially if down the road, if you have Sky Blue coming back, Greg, as a heel, maybe she could be part of that faction. And
Hmm.
then you got Scott, Kyle Fletcher and Sky Blue are a real life couple, so helps them out, kind of keeps them together in the fold, Craig. So yeah. Mariah May got reunited and it feels so good with Mina, Greg, but Mina wasn't feeling it. So I guess we're going to have to wait till they beat up on Willow and Sakakazi? Sakakazi?
Sakazaki.
Yeah. Willow came to her defense, but then Mina came at the top of the ramp, looking a little elevated in a couple places. Greg, I won't lie. Maybe that's why she was off TV for a little bit. So, I'm still waiting on Tony Storm, Greg. I want to see what Tony's going to do coming back, but Mina and the Glamour are back together. So, any kind of quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Or are they? Because
Or are they? Yep.
she didn't look like she was too happy about it.
Yeah.
But maybe a week's time goes by and they get on the same page. Uh, I'm super curious. Is Tony going to be timeless, or is she going to go back to old Tony?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's another character that she's about to unveil.
Yep.
So we're all waiting with bated breath to see what the next move is.
Yeah.
So that's going to add more fuel to the story because it's not over, but those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she had to go to Japan to find herself. It sounds like so. And then Moxley, of course, did defeat Darby Allin, and we're off and running Wrestle Dream. I think it is the last match of Bryan Danielson as a full time performer. They do keep touting that line, Greg. So he could come back in a limited capacity. But some
Be
stuff on
part
Ramp.
timer like Goldberg or
Yeah.
Undertaker once a year.
Yeah, once a year. Pull up the final countdown, pay the cash, Greg, and get that song playing. So Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews defeated Leo Rush and Axel Andretti. There was rumors that Malachi Black might be headed back to WWE. Well, no duh. Like I feel like these rumors come up every couple weeks, Greg. So
Yeah.
whenever him and Buddy are ready to go back, they will go back. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for Buddy with his relation, his wife being there, Greg, and of course Malachi Black has Zelina there. Whenever they're ready, they will probably be back in the fold, and we'll see what they do there. Anna Jay picks up a big win, kind of another repackaging of her. Is this the time, Greg, to finally do something with her?
Yeah, it's been time to do something with her for a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought beating Brandy was going to be her launch pad, but it wasn't. And then you thought the JS was going to be the opportunity, and that wasn't it. So they keep aborting the launch on her, but maybe this is it. So I hope she is because she's super talented, and I enjoy watching her in the ring. So they need to do something with her before she walks out the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that. Yeah, I am interested if she would try to see where else she could go, but Takeshita, man, I don't know, Greg. He's just there, isn't he now?
Yeah, I mean that guy had speaking of guys with momentum, he had super momentum after those two matches with
beat
Kenny Omega.
Jericho, beat Jericho with his own move, right?
Yep, yep, and unlike my guy Okada,
Yeah.
he's one of the Japanese wrestlers come over and he's made an instant impact. And you can see it and you see why he's special, why he's touted by the announcers as, a future world
The
champion is
Alpha.
easy to see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why they haven't, pulled the trigger on him and really elevated him to above where he is right now. Cause now he's kind of an afterthought, but maybe another, program with Osprey may do it and really, catapult him to the top in those last couple matches of the night where he belongs. Because I can't get enough watching this match. He's that good.
Yeah.
So I wish I could see that with Okada, but this is an example of how to do it right. So um, I'm still watching and hoping that they can do that with him, and because he deserves a higher profile than he's got right now.
Yeah. Especially like we said, with the mouthpiece that is John Callis. I mean, what better way to
Yeah,
try to push him to the moon or push him to, a secondary title? Push him more than just, a Rampage match.
yeah,
So, which is, now the kind of the third show, because Collision feels a little more important than Rampage, Greg. So now you have Rampage even lower on the totem pole. Especially when you have the Acclaim just defeating Fancy Clancy and TJ Crawford. And then, of course, Will Nightingale did defeat Taya. But it does look like they're kind of doing something with Taya and Deanna. And, she said Deanna's been saying she has a friends network, a network of friends, Greg. So who knows? I don't know what other names we can bring in, but, maybe do another Bad Girls Club. Because Lord knows that's what we need. But hey,
yeah.
if it gives Deanna doing something and Taya doing something, Greg, I say go with it. So any kind of closing thoughts to Rampage?
Well, I'm always curious to see what they're going to do with the ladies because it seems like they got a wealth of talent in the women's division, but they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Starting at the top with Mercedes and being back and Britt being back, Stat being back. All these ladies who just come back from their injuries or other promotions or what have you, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all there to have like the best women's division ever, and they don't know what to do with it. So I hope they figure it out because
Mm-hmm.
you're wasting all that talent by not giving them like legit work to do.
Yeah.
So wasting them away on Rampage and Collision isn't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to be on the big show and with some storylines that we can enjoy, like they're doing with Tony and Mariah. There needs to be more to it than just those two.
Mm-hmm. And then Collision, man, there's a big old stuff happening on Collision tonight, Greg. So this is the rundown right there. You could see the Mason Madden and Mansoor the MXM collection. They're going to give Max Caster a new jacket. They are on Hey EW with RJ City recently, Greg. I've not got a chance to watch it, but I've heard it is a laugh, a riot. So we should check that out sometime. You got a
Okay.
tornado tag match, of course. The congregation versus the Learning Tree. We get the Soraya's rules match. Remember where Soraya can do everything, Greg, and Jamie Hayter can't do anything. So we'll see how that shakes out. We got Okada versus Sammy Guevara in a AEW Continental Title Eliminator match. We have the Lumberjack Strap match. Hangman and Jeff Jarrett. Is this the closing, or where are we with Hangman and Jeff Jarrett, Greg? Are we just going to keep going with them?
No, I think Heyman is going to destroy Jeff Jarrett, and that's
Move
going to
on.
be more fuel to the fire as he just burns all the cities like Sherman going through Georgia on
Yeah,
his way back to
the title.
back to the title.
Mhm.
And again, I can't say enough how much I'm loving New Heyman because
Yeah.
the dude is on a mission and he is just the devil incarnate right now. So I love
Hang-
it.
Hangman TA. Should we just start calling him that, or Magnum
There you go.
Page?
I love it. I swear, if they say it was Son of Magnum, I'd be like, "Yep, that's
Yeah,
him."
he is.
Um,
So,
you see it now, though. Looking at him,
oh yeah,
he's definitely Magnum, young
yeah.
Magnum, I think. But from
Rocking the
Virginia and everything, I love it.
Ragnar, the Magnum PI look as well. So
Yep.
start coming out in some Hawaiian shirts. But we got a Lucha Libre three-way, Greg. Hologram, the Beast Morstos, Andrew Istico. Speaking of Hey EW, the Beast Mortos will be on there tomorrow, Greg. So that should be interesting because we've yet to hear the Beast talk. So we'll see if that's going to be anything. We have an AEW TNT Championship Open Challenge. So Jack Perry is going to have a champion or an open challenge, Greg. And we have to see if Wheeler Yuta steps up to the plate because now that that's been teased, I feel like we'll get Wheeler Yuta out there, Greg, and then as soon as the match is done, he just walks away. So, sorry, excuse me. Any thoughts on that aspect, Greg? For where do we, we've said before, we are you siding with Brian Danielson, but if Brian Danielson's on the out soon, Greg, I mean, do we? I don't know. Do we put we are you with them right after Brian's done?
That's the thing is,
Does
you
he
know,
lay
if
out Brian Danielson as the final salvo? Moxley wins, and then Wheeler comes out to save him, but Wheeler just takes him out.
I can see that happening, and you know, he's rolled with the dark side for a long time, and BCC was the ultimate heels before they lightened up a little bit with Danielson becoming more of a favorite and pulling him out of that so dark mold for a bit. This is the way for them to go all the way back to the other side of the sun. Um, so he could go either way, either be the guy who puts
Saves
that
him.
last nail in the coffin, or becomes the Crusader to avenge his best friend or his fallen foe or companion. So he could go either way, and so that's the carrot for him. Just like, what side does he choose? The devil on his shoulder or the angel on his shoulder? So,
And like you said, we've seen those moments of Wheeler, really coming to terms with his bad self. So
yeah,
maybe it's time. I think the more they tease him, helping Brian Gray, the more it makes you lean towards, oh man, he's gonna he's gonna
yeah.
put the plastic bag over Brian Danielson. But yeah. So
But that's a
yeah,
pretty good looking faction if he ends up joining with Mox and
yeah.
everyone else.
What about Marina? We ever going to see her do anything, Greg?
Uh, Not yet, but yes.
Yeah,
I mean, eventually they're going to run into a faction that has a female in it, and
yeah,
you'll get her doing more than just scowling at the camera.
and taking out people here and there, but
Yeah,
yeah. So this is a pretty loaded, collision, though. I
it
haven't made
is.
time for a collision, but I might need to carve out some time tonight. If it's raining again and all dreary outside, Greg, might be a good time to settle in for a quick collision viewing. So, last call. Your Chargers got the who did they got this week? Chiefs.
Uh, Chiefs.
Uh
Yeah,
oh.
yeah. This
What
this
are
is going to be a
your Chargers are 2-1?
2-1. Yep.
Okay. And Chiefs
So
are
there's
3-0.
that. But they're going in walking wounded because
Mm,
um, Justin Herbert had a high
that's
ankle
right.
sprain at the end of the Carolina game,
Was on
and
crutches.
he re-aggravated it in the last game against Pittsburgh, which they lost.
Yeah.
Um, and they have a bye week in week 5, so it would have made sense that they shelf him for the Chiefs
This
game,
week
especially because both of their tackles also got
are
injured
out.
in the Steelers' game,
Uh-oh.
the
Yeah.
left tackle and the right tackle. And that's for Sean Slater, who's probably one of the top 3 tackles in the league, and then Joe Alt, the rookie, who's been he's been awesome.
Yeah.
But he got hurt on the last play of the Steeler game.
Mm,
So they've been snake bit all at one time, and Joey Bosa got hurt. Derwin James was suspended for a hit on Pat Fryermuth,
okay.
which was helmet to helmet, but it wasn't egregious. It was he ducked down a little bit to try to truck Derwin, and they had a head-on collision because he lowered his pad level,
Hmm.
and the NFL got on him about it because of his history.
Yeah.
So totally unfair, but they're not going to have him to match up with Kelsey. So even as the most ardent Chargers supporter, I don't think this game is going to go our way. But Justin, being Justin, he wants to play. He says the ankle's feeling better.
Hmm.
You know, high ankle sprains. You just hope Kansas City's defensive line doesn't make it worse. Pro basketball players get high ankle sprains and they're out for 2 weeks
Yeah.
or more. So, he's coming back and playing a football game every week. So I'm hoping that the coaching staff kind of saves himself from himself, because this is not the team you want to run into with, both your protectors not playing and your quarterback on a bad wheel. But it sounds like he's going to play and see what happens, and maybe just have 2 weeks of rest with the bye coming up next week. So I'll be watching with my jersey on, ready to roll. But if I had to put money on them winning, I would keep my wallet in my pocket. So I'm just sitting back and hoping for the miracle of all miracles, and the captain finds a way to get the win.
Yep, Captain Comeback.
There you go.
So speaking of my Colts, we get the Steelers, the 3-0 Steelers. Anthony Richardson up and down, mostly down though. Greg, I was just looking out, said for the season, 3 TDs to 6 interceptions. That is not that's not ideal. So and I know people go back to that beauty of a throw he had in week 1, Greg. I think it was a 70-some yarder, just right in the gullet of Alec Pierce, like right in the breadbasket, and but then also he's had some overthrows on easy passes, Greg. So that's concerning.
Right.
I know that they brought up about Trevor Lawrence. Like, looks like Trevor Lawrence is just done. The Jags are 0-3 because the Jags are always that team, Greg. I feel like that gets a lot of love, and then they never go out. So I guess that's the beauty of my Colts playing in the AFC South, because you have like I was trying to think real quick. You have, I think, Texans are 2-1, and then everybody else is 1-2 and 0-3. So we're not out of it yet. Even a loss. I mean, the Texans could lose tomorrow. We can lose tomorrow. We'd still be a game back, Greg. So the beauty of the AFC South. So it says the line is only 2.5 for my Colts, so not a bad line. But then the over/under is 40, which seems pretty high, because I think last week was 16-10, and then like 21 or 28-21 or something. So not a lot of points been scoring, Greg. Obviously, if your quarterback throws 6 interceptions, you don't have a lot of scoring. But Jonathan Taylor's still running pretty hard though, 3 TDs. So that's a good thing there. But so we shall see. I didn't realize Monday night they moved the Miami game. I'm guessing because of the hurricane. Now it's going to be on Monday night. So we'll have 2 Monday night games this week. So the Titans are 0-3. So the Titans are 0-3 and the Jags are 0-3. And then we're 1-2 and the Texans are 2-1. So yeah. Anybody's ball game in the lovely AFC South, right?
Just a game out of first. That's good.
Just a game out of first. Looking as bad. But I, of course, am more excited for Pacers season. We're a month away from basketball, Greg. I cannot believe that. And we had the huge trade last night. Karl Anthony Towns going to the freaking Knicks, Greg.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe, and then I was looking at the draft class that Booker and Miles Turner were part of, Greg. They had the only 2 lottery picks still on the same team. And that was 2015. So, yeah. And if I had to put money, unfortunately, Greg, I think your Booker would probably be traded sooner than my Miles Turner. But that's just throwing that out there. But anyways, so
I don't know. We'll see what happens after this season, and maybe
that's
the whole thing up if it fails this year.
Yeah, and I mean, even Miles could be trade bait if things went awry for my Pacers, because he's not not that much older than our core, Greg. But we got some young guys in the wings, so who's to say, the Pacers don't think, hey, thanks Miles for 10 years, but he's always been trade talks, obviously, just because he's a big guy who can do some things. But I'm excited for Pacers season to unfold and team run it back. And like you said, you're running it back with did you lose Eric Gordon? Or no? Did you lose anybody? Or is it the same?
I think they keep the same squad. They just run it back with the same guys. Just bought a couple bench warmers in.
Because the depth was the concern.
Yeah. So I'm excited to be back now that I'm back to living in Arizona and can
Yeah.
actually attend some of the Suns games now. So
Mhm.
uh, I want to see what they can do up close and personal. I haven't seen Kevin Durant or I've seen Booker live. But I haven't seen Kevin Durant play in person. Um,
Oh, okay.
so I'm curious to see how the big three is going to work out
Yeah.
in their their second season together.
Mhm.
So
And then
we'll
you're
see.
throwing
Fingers crossed. And
Julius Randle goes to the Timberwolves. So that's, yeah. The Knicks are all in on this season, Greg. So,
apparently, so
because Mikal Bridges, Carl Anthony Towns, you still have Jalen Brunson. Um, they got? I think they got rid of Dante DiVincenzo because they were
yeah,
saying
he's in the trade too.
they had a lot of Villanova guys, and now they're gone. Um, but yeah, they got a starting five grade that, but that's the thing too. With all that pressure on your starting five, where's the depth? You
Hmm.
traded, they lost a lot of their bench. So, and that's where I take a lot of pride in my Pacers. Like, sometimes they they almost do a line shift, Greg, where the starters come out and four guys go in, or four starters go out and four bench players come in. So that's team effort there. But we shall see, because I did not, I didn't even know Carl Anthony Towns was even being mentioned as trade option,
No,
Greg. I mean, we're pretty big basketball guys, so like that thing came out, and now that we've lost Adrian Wojnarowski or Wojnarowski, Woj, whatever. Now it's all Shams bombs. So I think they also let off Zach Lowe of ESPN, which is huge. So
wow.
there was another guy that they let go, but anyway, so now it's all on Shams's shoulders to be the breaking news there. So yeah, but anyways, ready for basketball season. So, and it'll be kind of fun for you to see some. Maybe you can catch Pacers and Suns if they happen to play out there, Greg, when they get it. So,
There you go. I
um,
need a couple less high dollar tickets because Golden State is going to be. You've got to
oh yeah,
cash in a paycheck to see that game, but going into a game against an Eastern Conference team is going to be a where my budget is.
yeah.
So getting on
Well,
one of those games, but
looking at WrestleMania in Vegas, Greg, they were talking about front row premium tickets starting
yeah,
in the. I thought they said it could be 50.
50K for front row, and then 30K for second or third row.
Like,
Who's got money like that for
well, it is in
for
Vegas.
both nights? For
Yeah,
both nights,
it's
50K,
both sides.
30K.
Yeah, but still,
Just that's
I mean,
insane.
I better be getting the chair, the ring, the ropes, the post, announce table. I better be having a shipment of Michael Cole to my house, Greg, like for that much money. But
Right,
I don't know about. I'm afraid of what. I'm afraid of what even like nosebleeds would be. 1,000. I
right.
mean,
And we saw that post that green shirt guy will somehow be there
yeah,
as
yeah.
always in the front
And
row.
Brock Lesnar guy, and yeah, but and now SummerSlam will be 2 nights, so looks like they're going to be pushing SummerSlam to a 2 night event sooner rather than later. But yeah, what a time next year, Greg. John Cena's last WrestleMania match, and that could have kicked up that could have kicked up the price a little bit too. People
Yeah,
knowing
true.
that's John Cena's last. Haven't heard when Royal Rumble tickets are on sale yet, which is weird because everything else is starting to have a sale date, Greg. So I
Yeah,
hope they haven't forgot about our Royal Rumble tickets. But I know they've been doing the uh, the on location passes, which is still a little out of the price range. I mean, you could put money down, and I think you could do payment plans, Greg. But I'd rather just get a straight up ticket and be done with it. So we
yeah,
shall see when those go on sale. But anyways, glad to have you here. Next week we'll be checking in on our times. Saturday I'll probably be out, so we might need to do a Friday night, maybe right before SmackDown type show, Greg, and we'll get you all the bad blood predictions when we can next week. So just kind of keep in tune with our Twitter handles and our Facebook page, all that good stuff, and we will be there soon. So thank you for watching. Glad to have you here and enjoy the weekend.
Peace. Go Bolts.